So from the upcoming, lovely speech to you. Congratulations on this fantastic film. So first of all, obviously it's made in Cornwall. Why was that setting sort of important for you? I mean, obviously it feels quite a personal place for you, but some filmmakers like to disappear from their homelands. Why choose that?
Well, the most important thing for me when I'm making films is to create something that's authentic. And that doesn't necessarily mean the story, because the story can kind of be inauthentic or untrustworthy. But the actual context within which that story exists, I think, has to be real and believable. And I think audiences sniff out things that are phony and fake so quickly. I can only make films that are authentic in the place that I really understand, and that's Cornwall. So hopefully my films aren't necessarily about Cornwall. Hopefully the reach is broader than that. The themes and the stories are more universal than that. But the settings, in the name of authenticity, are always Cornwall at the moment.
Can you tell us a little bit about the casting process for George and Callum? I mean, they're actually quite different characters when you initially look at them. But when you see them come together on screen, they sort of merge into a friendship that feels like they're quite similar in a way.
Well, yeah, exactly that. I think that's what I realised during the making of the film. I thought I'd written two characters that were very different from each other and very distinct, with nothing in common. And then I cast George and Callum thinking they were very different people as humans. And then as I got to know them, I suddenly realised that on the surface they're very different, but their personalities and their soul and their sensibilities are very similar. And it made me kind of realise that in the script maybe I'd written two characters that are two halves of the same character, maybe a yin and yang that flips in the film. And I didn't realise that when I was writing it. That came from them, that came from their amazing input. Because I don't write much on the page. I don't give them much information about their characters, so that comes from them. So I have to give them that credit.
Actually, there feels like it's a bit of room for improv as well with the script.
There's no room at all for improv. I don't allow any improv in terms of improving dialogue or anything like that. But I do need them to fill out the character. I try and write characters as thinly as possible in the script. All I do is write what they say and what they do. I don't describe what they feel, what motivates them. The actors have to develop that and create backstory. So, for example, Callum, at the beginning of the film, Callum's character is just literally seen running down the road away from something. And he was always asking me, what am I running away from? What's that character running away from? And I was to say, it's up to you. And he had a million ideas about what he was running away from. And he would tell me, and I said, well, it's fine, but I don't need to know. And the audience doesn't need to know, but you need to know. And he was, he obviously understood that because he's a trained actor. So there's a lot of what the actor brings is in the character, So I half write them, and the other half of them is what the actor brings.
Can you tell us about the filming process? Because I know that you used a Bolex camera, and then you, I believe, added the sound afterwards. So what was the choice for that? And are you pleased and proud of what it's turned out?
Yeah, all my films I shoot silently on a Bolex, which is a clockwork camera, so you can't really record sound with it. You can't really record sync sound. And it only runs for 27 seconds, and I have to wind the camera again.
Something going on.
And then I do all the sound afterwards. So all the actors come in one by one months later and do their dialogue. I do record all the atmospheres, all the Foley. I do the score as well. I work with a brilliant supervising sound editor called Ian Wilson, who works with me on all of this. So it's not just me that does it, but I like to do the sound afterwards so that I can give it my full attention. So the visuals is my full attention during the shoot, and then in post-production the sound has my full attention.
So that's really interesting. It's a really clever way of filmmaking. Very unique. Thank you so much for speaking to me. Enjoy your time at the London Film Festival. Thank you so much. Thank you.